With team coverage now, this is Wave News.
Our city is heartbroken.
There's only so many times you can walk into a room and tell someone they're not coming home tomorrow.
There is no sense to be had. I don't understand why she's gone.
I walk these steps every day, you know. I would walk these steps every day and come into work like normal, like it was nothing.
And she had to tell their two small children that their father would never come home from work.
It has happened in Louisville. It could happen in Paducah, in Pikeville, or in Covington. This is happening in America everywhere, and will keep happening until we say enough.
A terribly sad moment in Louisville's history, impacting so many. And now, passionate calls for action as the community continues to grieve in the days after a man killed 5 co-workers inside Old National Bank in downtown Louisville. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. It is 5:59. I'm Shannon Kogan. Dramatic new body cam video of that mass shooting at Old National Bank was released by LMPD last night. It shows the response by 2 heroic police officers who rushed to the scene determined to save lives.
I think I got him down. I think he's down.
This footage revealing new details about the officers' response and also some of the longest, most intense minutes anyone could experience. This morning, we're also learning more about the victims, those killed, and the officer still fighting for his life. Our team coverage this morning kicks off with reporter Josh Ninke, who is outside Old National Bank right now. Josh.
Hey, Shannon. Now, officers Corey Wilt and Nicholas Wilt, and Corey Galloway were under fire from the moment they arrived here at Old National Bank. Now, I want to start by showing you some of the video from the driver. That's Nick Wilt. He was the one who, as you might remember, is essentially brand new on the force and is still in critical condition.
Stop. Stop right here. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Get me up here. Stop right there. Open the trunk.
Even after being shot at several times, these 2 men do not hesitate to arm themselves and run straight into danger. Now let's switch to Officer Galloway's view as they walk up the steps toward the shooter. So this is where Officer Wilt is shot, and Galloway takes cover for about 3 minutes while he waits for backup. And it feels like a very long 3 minutes, too, if you watch this in real time. A backup does arrive and takes focus off of him just enough so he can step out from behind his cover and shoot the suspect. The Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey of LMPD had some very high praise for these men.
Anybody who gets shot at reacts. For people to react by staying there, staying in the fire, and going back inside the scene, keeping themselves in danger, that's superhuman. Those men are amazing.
Now, we've got that full video in its entirety on our website, wave3.com. We also have another angle from a bystander, so you can see a little bit more of what that police response looked like on that day. Live here in downtown Louisville, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. And as Josh mentioned, Officer Wilt is still in critical condition right now at University of Louisville Hospital. The bullet hit his head. Officer Galloway had a minor gunshot wound. He's been released from the hospital. He's been on the force since 2018. LMPD, again, calling both men hero officers, which they certainly are, both assigned to the 1st Division. And people around the country are mourning those 5 people killed. 64-year-old James Tutt, 45-year-old Juliana Farmer, 40-year-old Joshua Barrick, 63-year-old Tommy Elliott, and 57-year-old Deanna Eckert. We've heard from many of their loved ones. They want us to remember them for the impact they made on people around them. And Wave News reporter Olivia Russell in the studio with more on them.
Shannon, 5 lives taken in such a tragedy, but we really want to focus on the victims and who they were. So Tommy Elliott was close friends with Governor Beshear and Mayor Craig Greenberg. He was a businessman, husband, and father. Deanna Eckert died at U of L Hospital after the shooting. A former co-worker of Eckert's for 20 years says she always wanted to make things better to help people.
It just instilled the family values in us, and even in our team, we were like a family. We supported one another, and if we had sickness or a death, she always said family first.
Now, Juliana Farmer was a mother and a grandmother. She just started working at Old National Bank 3 weeks ago. And Josh Barrick was an active member of Holy Trinity Catholic Church. They honored his life on Monday night. And Jim Tutt was a longtime commercial banker. He even tutored other business students, and people described him as having an infectious smile.
He was a family guy. He was very happy grandfather, a doting dad, doting grandfather, and loved his work, loved his family, loved his wife.
GoFundMe has launched a hub of verified fundraisers to help the families of those affected by the shooting. We have a link to that on our website, wave3.com. The city will host a vigil tonight at the plaza of the Muhammad Ali Center at 5 o'clock. The mayor described it as an interfaith opportunity open to the entire community. In the studio, Olivia Russell, Wave News.
Thanks, Olivia. And the Louisville Metro Police Foundation is asking for donations for Officer Wilt's recovery and his family. So far, they've raised more than $80,000. LMPD Deputy Paul Humphrey says his actions jumping into danger likely saved countless other lives.
Officer Wilt was a brand new officer. He had no experience. He was going based on two things, his training and his character. And you will see that he never hesitates, even after getting shot at. This young man went back into the line of fire in order to protect others. And you're going to see that and how he made his decisions and how they ultimately protected other people's lives.
This was Officer Wilt's fourth shift as an LMPD officer. He had just graduated from the police academy at the end of March. But his history of service to the community goes back even further. He was a firefighter and an EMT and a dispatcher before becoming a police officer. For 7 years, Nick Wilt was a firefighter in LaGrange. His fellow firefighters say he's headstrong and intuitive, always wanting to learn to become the best he can be. They say it was no surprise to them. He had again put his community's safety above his own in the face of danger.
That's what he has always done. He gave and gave and gave to his community. And we're certainly in hopes that he will be able to continue to give and give and give.
In addition to being a firefighter, he took on roles as a dispatcher and trained to become an EMT. It is a common practice to participate in some combination of these professions, but to take on all four, that takes a special person.
He told us several weeks before he went to the academy that he's wanted to be a police officer. That was his dream. Of course, we told him, we said, are you sure this is what you want to do, to step out of your safe zone in order to protect and serve? And he said, that's what I've always wanted to do, is protect and serve.
If you would like to donate to help Officer Wilt, we have that information on this story on wave3.com, or you can go to the Louisville Metro Police Foundation's Facebook page. Officer Wilt is one of the many victims who were treated at U of L Hospital after the shooting on Monday. 2 other patients are still there right now. They have non-life-threatening injuries. U of L Health's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jason Smith, got emotional during an update yesterday, talking about caring for victims of gun violence.
But I'll be honest, caring for 3 shooting victims, plus the other that came in, is not an infrequent day for us. And the events surrounding this made this obviously much more difficult. But to be honest with you, we barely had to adjust our operating room schedule to be able to do this. That's how frequent we are having to deal with gun violence in our community. I'll tell you personally, I'm weary. I've been in Louisville for 15 years, all of it at University Hospital. For 15 years, I've cared for victims of violence and gunshot wounds. And people say I'm tired, but I'll be answered. It's more than tired. I'm weary. And it just breaks your heart. When you hear someone screaming, Mommy or Daddy, it just becomes too hard day in and day out to be able to do that.
Dr. Smith also talked about how you can help care for victims. We'll have more on that coming up in our next half hour. This morning, the shooter's family says they're anguished by his violence, and they are cooperating fully with law enforcement. Wave News reporter Kathleen Ninke live with more from their statement that was just released. Kathleen.
The shooter's family is echoing the words of many of that 25-year-old's acquaintances. They had no warning he was capable of this. Last night, just before 11, they released this statement through their lawyer. Quote, "No words can express our sorrow, anguish, and horror at the unthinkable harm our son Connor inflicted on these innocent people, their families, and the entire Louisville community. We mourn their loss and that of our son, Connor. We pray for everyone traumatized by his senseless acts of violence and are deeply grateful for the bravery and heroism of the LMPD." While Connor, like many of his contemporaries, had mental health challenges, which we as a family were actively addressing, there were never any warning signs or indications that he was capable of this shocking act. While we have many unanswered questions, we will continue to cooperate fully with law enforcement officials and do all we can to aid everyone in understanding why and how this happened. Live in the newsroom, Kathleen Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Kathleen. Federal officials are continuing their investigation into the shooter. He live-streamed the shooting, and even though that social media account was taken down, the FBI can still access all of his posts. Former FBI agent David Byer says the agency's computer analysis response team can look at deleted information on cell phones and computers.
They collect information to try to see what precipitated the event. Back in 2013, the FBI did an intense analysis of mass shootings from 2000 to 2013 to collect data to see if there was commonality in what caused these, and to help not only prevent them, but help law enforcement officers understand how best to respond to an incident like this.
The FBI also has a victims assistance program that will help the victims' families, survivors, witnesses, and other people who were in the Preston Point building. And the FBI wants to talk to people who may have witnessed that mass shooting. Local FBI agents responded to the scene. They're helping LMPD right now. FBI Louisville, they've created a website to help gather information in the shooting. For a link to that, just go to this story on wave3.com. So many people around Old National Bank were just starting their day when that shooting happened. Louisville Ballet Executive Director Leslie Smart says there were about 8 people working in the ballet on Monday. They're located right next door to that building. Some employees were just walking in from the parking lot. They took shelter in the basement, and one of the ballet staffer is a nurse. They ran to help provide triage care to the wounded. Smart says Tuesday's rehearsal was difficult.
The studio that you all can see behind me right now is glass and looks directly into the Old National Building, so it's just a constant reminder.
Against the Grain is also very close to that building. It's at Louisville Slugger Field, and their operations manager says they were just starting their day too, and then they started helping anyone who was running their way. Gave them space too, along with water and shelter, and then offered their restaurant to police to hold a press conference. Wave News will continue to bring you updates on this developing story. You can find news stories posted daily on wave3.com or the free Wave News app. You can download that right now through the Google Play and the Apple Store. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here, and it's going to warm up a lot.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing plenty of sunshine today, highs well into the 70s across the area, so enjoy the warm weather while we have it, because we know it's not going to last forever. We're keeping an eye on the roads as well, and the roads still quiet across our region. I'll let you know when rain will arrive back into our forecast in just a bit.
This is Wave News Sunrise.
It is 6:15, and what's nice, we have some nice quiet weather right now.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about more of that high pressure in control of our weather for a little while longer. So we'll talk about that and, of course, the warm weather that will come with it. Because, of course, with more of that southerly wind, plenty of sunshine, it'll be very, very, very easy for our temperatures to start to go all the way up. So we'll watch for that pretty closely. So let's get these graphics working properly, and let's jump into it. Yeah, so here's what we're seeing right now. We are seeing some upper level clouds drifting in from the north, but these are just going to make for a pretty sunrise, and that is it for this morning. With the mainly clear skies we're seeing, that's allowing our temperatures to drop a little bit more, but not as much as what we saw earlier this week. So looking into Bardstown right now, seeing the flag barely moving, so very, very light wind overall. Things are quiet and dry in Bardstown. You're sitting at 44 degrees, seeing 52 though for those of you in Shelbyville and into North Vernon, some of our higher elevations. A touch touch warmer. You're just getting more of that southerly wind. Cooler in through our valleys this morning. 37 degrees right now in Campbellsville, 41 into Carrollton. Over the next 12 hours, here's what we're going to be seeing. Those temperatures climbing into the 70s for highs. Could touch 80 in Louisville. Plenty of sunshine all day long. For tonight, falling down into the 40s across the region. For tomorrow, we're turning to those upper 70s and low 80s for highs. So tomorrow will be sunny and warm, and we'll watch those clouds increasing as we get into the second half of your Thursday. Out ahead of our next system, I'll bring a little bit of that rain our way. We'll be watching for, of course, a couple of those scattered showers as we get into your Friday morning. And then as we warm up pretty easily into the 70s for Friday afternoon, we could see certainly some pop-up showers and thunderstorms showing up. They would not last very long, but certainly could put a little bit of a damper on your Friday afternoon before things dry back out. And we roll into your Saturday. Here comes that next system moving our way. This one will help to bring more of those showers and thunderstorms for your Saturday night into early on Sunday morning. Now, some of these could be on the stronger side, and that's a threat that we have to watch very closely. But behind this system, as it exits the region come Sunday morning, we are going to cool down. By Sunday afternoon, we're talking mainly 50s across the region. I'm going to see those highs in the upper 50s and low 60s on your Monday, warming back into the 70s as we get into the end of next week.
Thanks, Tawana. New on Sunrise, police are investigating a threat at Jeffersonville High School. The resource officer at the school learned about a threat written inside the stall in a bathroom Tuesday. Authorities and school officials have been working to ensure the safety of students. They say there's no indication that the threat is valid, but they're still investigating, and they will have an increased police presence at Jeffersonville High School. This morning, Metro Police are conducting a death investigation after a man was found dead inside a home blocks away from Ezekiel Middle School. LMPD says they were called to East Kentucky Street just before 10 Tuesday morning and found a man who was dead. And they say there was trauma to his body. His name has not been released. LMPD has not made any arrests in this case. And we're getting reaction after a local mother charged in the murder of her 4-year-old daughter is expected to take a plea deal. 4-year-old Serenity McKinney was last seen in December of 2020 before Christmas. Her body was then found wrapped in plastic inside of a suitcase close to the Jefferson-Bullitt County line in February of 2022. Serenity's mother, Catherine Abby McKinney, is expected to plead guilty to murder charges. McKinney's boyfriend was also arrested in connection to this case. The 4-year-old's grandmother explained how difficult the fight for legal justice has been on her family.
Accepting is a big thing, too. It's very difficult to accept what is going on. But the good Lord above will take care of us, guide us, and He will, at the end of the day, He will have the ultimate judgment.
The family will learn the details of the plea agreement Friday. We now know the name of the man shot and killed outside of Jefferson Community and Technical College building on Monday. The coroner has identified him as Chavon Moore. Investigators say he and another woman were shot outside of a JCTC building on 8th and Chestnut Streets Monday morning. The woman was taken to U of L Hospital. LMPD says the shooting was not related to the mass shooting that happened just 2 hours earlier at Old National Bank, which is close by. And as the city continues to reel from that shooting, lawmakers and Louisville's mayor are now pushing for more gun control laws. The mayor's passionate plea next. Good morning, 6:23 now. It is hump day, weekend in sight now, Tawana.
Yes, and for today we have beautiful weather, a high near 80 degrees. As we get into this afternoon, plenty of sunshine. Clouds increasing tomorrow, but still warm. Low 80s in some parts of wave country. Now we'll see some more clouds overhead on Friday with some scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms possible, but Friday not looking like a washout. We do see dry, warm weather to start off your Saturday, but as we get into Saturday night and Sunday, that is when we're going to be seeing a little bit more of that rain coming our way with a cold front moving through. We do have to keep an eye on the strength of some of those Saturday night storms. Now behind that system, cooling down into the 50s for highs for your Sunday and Monday afternoon. So both those days going to be relatively cool. Back into the 60s on your Tuesday, then we'll easily warm into the 70s by the end of next week. Shannon.
Thanks, Tawana. Investigators say the 25-year-old Old National Bank gunman legally purchased the AR-15 used in that shooting from a local gun dealer last week. The purchase was made April 4th, 6 days before the killer's deadly rampage. LMPD did not give the name of the vendor who sold him the gun. Mayor Craig Greenberg says after Monday's tragedy, 40 people have been shot and killed in Louisville this year. And the mayor is calling on members of Congress and the state legislature to bring about some type of change.
These 5 victims should not be dead, just like everyone else who was killed by gun violence in our city, in our country, should not be dead. And so while there is a spirit of compassion and a spirit of coming together, and we are going to unite as a community stronger than other and share love and support for one another, I'm also hopeful that we are taking action.
Under state law, Louisville is not allowed to destroy illegal weapons that are confiscated. Greenberg says that needs to change. Currently, confiscated weapons are auctioned off. Indiana Democrats are upset at a new resolution to honor the National Rifle Association's 152nd annual convention in Indianapolis. Minority Leader of the Indiana Senate, Greg Taylor, released this statement, and it says in part, the day after our neighbors in Louisville lost 5 lives to a mass shooting, our Senate chamber chose to bring forth a resolution celebrating the NRA. Our neighbors are still in mourning, and we're honoring an organization that has played a central role in preventing the adoption of common sense gun safety laws across the nation. The NRA's convention starts this Friday in Indianapolis. Local experts are talking about what you should do if you're caught in the middle of an active shooting situation. A self-defense expert says the goal is to just get away from the danger. That means being aware of what's going on and avoid being distracted from things like your phone. Also, take cover. Try to find something that could potentially stop a bullet. LMPD also said to not freeze and become a target and fight back only as a last resort.
So run, hide, fight. Get out of the area. If you cannot get out of the area, hide. If you cannot hide safely, fight. Do not think that you do not have the capacity to fight back and save your life. When it comes down to it, that's the only choice you have, and you better fight like your life depends on it, because you have to.
LMPD said employees at Old National Bank helped save their lives by running away from the danger as quickly as they could. 6:26, and up next on Sunrise, we're continuing to take a look at that body camera footage just released by LMPD of 2 extremely brave officers who went into Old National Bank and saved lives.
With team coverage now, this is Wave News.
It really shakes the core. It shakes the core to know that life was being lost.
A traumatic moment still impacting the people of Louisville. Politicians calling for action from Congress as the Louisville community continues to grieve after a man killed 5 co-workers inside Old National Bank on Monday in downtown Louisville. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It is now 6:30. I'm Shannon Kogan. The new body cam video of the mass shooting at Old National Bank was released last night by LMPD. It shows the quick response by 2 brave officers who rushed to the scene.
The shooter has an angle on that officer. We need to get up there. I don't know where he's at. The glass is blocking him.
The footage revealing new details about the officer's heroic response in some of the longest, most intense minutes anyone could experience. More of that body camera footage this morning. Wave News reporter Josh Ninke is outside of the Preston Point building. That is where the Old National Bank is located. Josh?
Yeah, Shannon, this whole encounter was over in about 4 or 5 minutes. Officers Nick Wilt and Corey Galloway never hesitated. Now, let me take you towards the end of this video, and this is the moment that Officer Galloway finally gets the chance to break from cover to take out the shooter.
God, don't have an angle. I think I got him down. I think he's down. Get down.
Officers then go into the bank and confirm that the shooter is in fact down. They're also making sure that Officer Wilt, who was shot in the head, is being taken care of. Some very tense moments, and they earned some much-deserved praise from LMPD leaders.
What you saw in that video was absolutely amazing. It's tragic, but it's absolutely amazing. There's only a few people in this country that can do what they did. Not everybody can do that. They deserve to be honored for what they did.
can find that full body cam video at wave3.com. Live here in Louisville, Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. And we're hearing from family and friends of the 5 killed in this shooting. All worked there at Old National Bank. 64-year-old James Tutt, 45-year-old Juliana Farmer, 40-year-old Joshua Barrick, 63-year-old Tommy Elliott, and 57-year-old Deanna Eckert. Wave News reporter Olivia Russell in the studio with more on who they were, Olivia.
Well, Shannon, yeah, family and friends really speaking out right now. Of course, there's a lot of grief and pain, but they also want people to know what kind of incredible lives they lived. So Jim Tutt played in the marching band at UK. People described him as friendly, sweet, and one of the smartest guys you would ever meet. Juliana Farmer had just moved to Louisville and started working at the National Bank 3 weeks ago. She was a mother and a grandmother.
I can't hear her voice anymore. I can't touch her. I can't tell her how much I love her. There is no sense to be had. I just feel like that man stole her from us.
A former colleague of Deanna Eckert said she loved her family, even treated her coworkers as family too. And Tommy Elliott was close friends with Governor Beshear, Mayor Greenberg, and John White Brown. Friends said they want to keep his legacy alive.
I can't hear her voice anymore. I can't touch her. I can't tell her how much I love her. There is no sense to be had. I just feel
Josh Barrick was an active member of Holy Trinity Catholic Church, always giving back to his community. Congressman Morgan McGarvey gave an emotional testimony during one of the city's updates on Tuesday. He even talked about the moments he had to deliver bad news to the family.
She hasn't heard from her husband. Can you find out if he's alive? I called LMPD, and as they did everything yesterday, were quick in their response. I had to call back and say I cannot confirm anything, but he is not on the list of survivors. And she had to tell their 2 small children that their father would never come home from work.
Yesterday, the president of the University of Kentucky, Eli Capilouto, released a statement saying 3 of the victims had attended the university. Tommy Elliott and Jim Tutt were UK graduates in the early 1980s. Deanna Eckert attended the university as well. Capilouto said that they will always be part of the UK family. In the studio, Olivia Russell, Wave News.
Thanks, Olivia. 6:35 now, and a memorial on the steps of the Old National Bank building continues to grow. Flowers and crosses line the entrance of the steps there. One man in the memorial says he used to work at the bank. He said he knew all the victims and is having a hard time wrapping his head around what happened.
When I walked up here, I broke down. I broke down because I walk these steps every day, you know. I would walk these steps every day and come into work like normal, like it was nothing. And now to not be able to even walk up the steps because of a horrible tragedy that happened, I can't walk up the steps anymore.
Repair crews were at that building yesterday, sweeping up glass and cleaning up the damage. Several vigils are planned for the victims of the mass shooting. Wave News reporter Kathleen Ninke has more on these for us. Kathleen?
Shannon, this community clearly wants to honor those lost and support those who are still fighting for life. You're looking live at the Old National Bank this morning, where friends and strangers, you just saw it, they've been placing flowers. And this evening, Westport Road Baptist in East Louisville is hosting a candlelight vigil. Everyone's invited. 6:30 p.m. at the church on the corner of Hurstbourne and Westport. Also there, they'll have stations where you can sign letters to the families of the victims and sign letters of thanks to the officers who responded. And this morning, students at injured Officer Nicholas Wilt's alma mater, Oldham County High School, have something special planned. From 8:30 to 9, right before school starts, students are gathering on the soccer field. They'll be wearing blue. They'll be holding signs to show the drivers that go past. Officer Wilt graduated Oldham County in 2016. And there's an interfaith citywide vigil tonight at the Muhammad Ali Center in the plaza at 5 p.m. The Metro's inviting everyone out to acknowledge the wounds and sorrow gun violence leave behind. Along with this, the Metro's Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods will place professional grief counselors at 12 churches from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. You're invited to speak with these grief counselors, anyone who needs it. You can find that full list of participating churches at wave3.com. Again, these are open for the public. Shannon.
Kathleen, thanks. And counselors will be at Floyd Central High School to help students after the mass shooting. The New Albany Floyd County interim superintendent told our partners at the News and Tribune that they're offering counseling to students and staff. That's because the father of the shooter is currently working as a teacher at Floyd Central. He used to serve as the school's head basketball coach, but he stepped down from that position in 2022. And after this mass shooting, health officials are urging people donate blood if you can. The number of patients recovering in the hospital from the mass shooting has dropped over the last 24 hours. Monday, they had 9 people in the hospital. Now there are 3. 2 are in fair condition. And then we have Officer Wilt, who is still critical. The hospital said they used 170 units of blood to treat all the injuries from the mass shooting.
The lives that were saved yesterday were because of the American Red Cross and the blood they had on the shelves and the blood that they provided us. So going now to donate and continuing to donate is what's going to make a difference for the patients that are coming through the doors tomorrow, today, a week from now, a month from now.
Officials said 1 in 4 people will need a blood donation in their lifetime. During the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of blood centers saw their supplies dwindle. Eric Lindsay with the Kentucky Blood Center says a healthy blood supply means having a 3 to 4 day supply for their 70-plus hospitals, but right now they just have a 2 to 3 day supply.
A trauma situation, whether it's a car accident or, God forbid, a shooting, one patient alone can use anywhere from 50 to 100 units of blood.
The Kentucky Blood Center has 8 donor centers in 6 cities across the state, including Louisville. All of the centers are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, and then also on Saturdays from 8 to 2. You can make an appointment in advance or also just walk in. A great way to help. 6:39 now. Tawana?
Over the next 12 hours, we're talking about plenty of sunshine in the forecast. That's going to take us to near 80 degrees for a high. And as we look at the roads this morning, things are still quiet across the region. Of course, we'll let you know if that changes throughout sunrise. And we're going to talk about the rain chances coming our way after the break.
Breaking news at 6:42 now. The White House has just raised the alarm on a new deadly fentanyl mix. It's called Tranq. Kathleen Ninke tells us what this means for the response in this Wave News Alert now.
Shannon, this mix is fentanyl and xylazine, and it's actually an animal tranquilizer. On the street, it's called Tranq. So heads up if you hear that from a loved one. Tranq is responsible for a growing number of overdose deaths in the U.S. And now the White House Drug Czar just this morning has labeled it an emerging threat. So that language means the federal government has to publish a response plan within 3 months. The drug czar said, quote, "We must act, and we must act now." Shannon.
All right, thanks, Kathleen. The U of L and UK baseball teams are now looking for a new day to play at Jim Patterson Stadium. U of L athletic leaders say both schools made the mutual decision to postpone last night's game after Monday's mass shooting. The programs will announce when a makeup game is scheduled. U of L and Bellarmine's baseball teams will honor victims at a game tonight. The universities will join together for a pre-game ceremony and a moment of silence. The first pitch is at 7. The game is part of Heroes Week at Jim Patterson Stadium. And Derby is coming up so soon. Waves working with Churchill Downs to help celebrate all of your Kentucky Derby traditions. We want to hear your favorite Kentucky Derby story, and you'll get a chance to be invited to 502 Day. That's going to be the week of Derby. You could also be one of the finalists entered for a chance to win 6 tickets to a third-floor box for both the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. To enter, go to wave3.com/contests. And we're getting closer to the kickoff for Thunder over Louisville. You excited? I know I am. Just 10 days away now. Oh my goodness. And this drone show this year is going to be incredible. They have 300 drones this year. Last year, they had 75. So Countdown to Thunder is on. It's coming up April 22nd. And a reminder, Wave is the only station to watch. Tawana?
For today, we're already seeing a little bit of sunlight now coming up over the horizon as high pressure is in control of our weather. I'll let you know about the rain coming our way eventually in just 30 seconds. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with your Wednesday forecast across the region right now. High pressure remains in control, but we are seeing some upper level clouds drifting on through the area. Those not really doing anything, but will make for some interesting photography if you're taking pictures of the sunrise today. We're looking into Cordon right now where you see the beautifully blue skies, some of those upper level clouds overhead, and things are just quiet and calm right now in Cordon. Speaking of Cordon, you're currently at 44 degrees there, 51 for those of you in North Vernon, 50 in Shelbyville. So some of our higher elevations, certainly a little bit warmer because you have more of that access to those, of course, southerly winds. But in our more valley areas, cooler, 41 in Carrollton, 36 in Campbellsville, 39 right now into Litchfield. So here's what we're expecting seeing across the metro right now, 44 degrees in Prospect, but 50 into Simpsonville, seeing 47 in New Albany, and 53 right now in Fern Creek. Over the next 12 hours, going to climb into the upper 70s to near 80 degrees for a high with the help of that sunshine and those southerly winds for tonight, keeping it on the warm side as well, only falling down into the 40s across the region. Here's what we're looking at over the next 10 days. Plenty of sunshine for tomorrow as we warm into the upper 70s and the low 80s for your highs. Some scattered showers and a couple of isolated thunderstorms are certainly possible on your Friday. We can see some of those showers moving in, the remnants of this low pushing towards us on Friday. But the thing we're really going to see, those extra clouds overhead helping to keep our temperatures a touch cooler than what we're going to be seeing on your Thursday. Even as we head into Friday afternoon, some pop-up thunderstorms are certainly possible across the area. And then we have a better chance of rain rolling in as we get into the second half of your Saturday. Here comes this cold front approaching our area, bringing us some of those showers and thunderstorms Saturday night into your Sunday morning. Now, some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger side, but that chance is greater in areas further to the west of wave country, but we're going to be watching it. As we get into your Sunday morning, the rain moves out, our temperatures start to fall down, and we'll see afternoon temperatures on Sunday in the 50s across the region, upper 50s and low 60s for highs on Monday as we head into next week, gradually warming back into the 70s.
Thanks, Tawana. 6:47 now, and Jefferson County leaders are giving people more time to drop off debris after last week's severe weather. The Waste Reduction Center is on Meriwether Avenue, and they'll take that tree debris for free through April 22nd. They're open from 8 to 5 Tuesday through Friday, and then 8 to 3 on Saturdays. And a traffic alert, work on the lower deck of the Sherman-Minton Bridge will mean some lane restrictions on I-64 East for part of the weekend. These will impact drivers going from New Albany into Louisville. They'll be pouring concrete, so the right lane of the lower deck will be closed from 6 p.m. Friday until about 1 p.m. on Saturday. So eastbound I-64 traffic into Louisville can still happen. The top deck of the Sherman-Minton will be used. The exit ramp from I-64 East to New Albany will also stay open while this is happening, and access to I-64 East from New Albany and eastbound I-64 to I-264 will be closed. And workers are squeezing today I-64 down to one lane on the bridge that crosses over the Kentucky River in Franklin County. Work starts at 9, but they hope to have it all wrapped up by 3. Coming up this morning on Today, the surfer who was viciously attacked by a shark on a popular beach in Hawaii is speaking out about that from his hospital bed. His story about the fight for his life coming up.
I'm Josh Nickey, live here in downtown Louisville at the Old National Bank, the site of Monday's mass shooting. If you take a look behind me, you can see the sun beginning to rise on the memorial here with the 5 crosses. Plenty of traffic has been coming by here as the city starts to wake up as well this morning. Everybody kind of pausing to take a look at what happened here, and also to see the plywood where glass once stood was shot out on during Monday's events. Now, we do have new body cam footage from both officers showing everything that happened throughout the tense moments. Honestly, only about 5 minutes worth of them arriving here before everything was over and finished. If you want to see that video yourself, we've got it for you at wave3.com. We'll, of course, be following this story throughout the rest of the day, throughout the rest of the week, and until this is all over. Live here in downtown Louisville, Josh Nickey, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. And the Louisville Metro Police Foundation is asking for donations for Officer Nick Wilt's recovery and his family. He was shot in the head responding to that shooter. So far, more than $80,000 has been raised. He is still in critical condition. LMPD Deputy Paul Humphrey says his actions, jumping into danger, likely saved countless other lives.
Officer Wilt was a brand new officer. He had no experience. he was going based on two things, his training and his character. And you will see that he never hesitates, even after getting shot at. This young man went back in to the line of fire in order to protect others. And you're going to see that and how he made his decisions and how they ultimately protected other people's lives.
Just incredible, and he had only been on the job for less than a week. If you would like to donate to Officer Wilt, we have more information on wave3.com. Just go to this story, or you can go to Louisville Metro Police Foundation's Facebook page. And the FBI is hoping to talk to people who witnessed that mass shooting Monday. Local agents responded to this scene, and they're helping aid LMPD in the investigation. FBI Louisville created a website to help gather information in the shooting. For a link, click on this story on wave3.com. A community-wide vigil will take place tonight at the plaza of the Muhammad Ali Center. This will start at 5 o'clock. Mayor Craig Greenberg says it's an interfaith opportunity. It's open to everyone. But if you don't want to attend the large gathering tonight, the city's Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods will have grief counselors at 12 churches around the city for additional support. For a full list, go to wave3.com. And the easiest way you can help the victims is by donating blood. U of L Hospital says they used 170 units of blood to treat the injuries from the mass shooting. The American Red Cross and Kentucky Blood Center are accepting appointments to donate right now. They also take walk-ins. For more information, you can go to redcross.org and kybloodcenter.org. And during traumatic events like this, you might find yourself needing some help, wanting to talk to someone. Greater Louisville Incorporated encourages those to prioritize their mental health right now, and they have a list of state, local, and national resources available on their website. Louisville Metro Government's Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods will also set up grief counselors at those churches. As a reminder, a list of times and locations are also available right here or on wave3.com. It is 6:55 right now, and Tawana, it's really going to warm up, and what a beautiful sight that is.
Yeah, sunrise this morning, absolutely gorgeous out there as we're beginning our Wednesday. Keep in mind that we're in the 40s in most spots as we're starting off the morning, a couple of 30s here and there, mainly in our valleys. As we head over the next 12 hours, going to be seeing those temperatures climbing into the 70s for highs, could touch 80 in Louisville, and we're going to be looking at some low 80s in the forecast for tomorrow. A few rounds of rain, mainly isolated on Friday, and a better chance for rain Saturday night into your Sunday morning. So keep that in mind if you have any plans this weekend. Heading into next week, tax day looks gorgeous.
Oh, great.
So for those of you who are last minute on that, get that done, and then we'll warm up into the 70s for the end of next week.
And roads are looking good on this Wednesday morning.
Things are pretty quiet out there. Remember, you can always find the latest weather and traffic information in the Wave Weather app.
Love it. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. The Today Show is coming up next. Hope you have a terrific Wednesday.
Get live